guys, T2RX6 here, back for another Transformers review. And today, I promise, is the last time I will be looking at Masterpiece Rodimus Prime in a full review. This is version 2 on the right here. The left is Hasbro. Version 1 I shipped back. And I got a request to, just kind of go over version 2 to show if he's had some improvements and stuff. I kind of like having both the Hasbro and the Takara version, because the Hasbro one very much has the deco on the chest to feel like a G1 hot rod, whereas the kind of more defined flames remind me a lot more of Rodimus Prime, so I really like having them that way. And interesting enough, the Rodimus Prime has a lighter gray face, which kind of goes with that one, and Hot Rod has that darker brown, or I'm sorry, not brown, gray. So yeah, and it's really interesting to see once you have them side by side that even with minor changes, just how different these two characters actually can look if you have everything transformed correctly. And this is where the shoulder thing really makes a big difference, to just push them down and you can see the joints are angled downwards, whereas Rodimus's are on the side there. And that makes a big difference. The other thing to do is make sure you push the spoiler assembly upwards on Rodimus Prime, and that gives it a little more height, and then when you squeeze in the spoilers, it gives him a lot more height on the spoiler sticking up, even though his shoulders are up. So it's pretty interesting to see the differences. I'm still disappointed that the Hasbro Rodimus got those really awesome guns, and Rodimus Prime's has absolutely no detail. But hey, what can you do? So let's take this apart. Now, with these, with the version 2, he has seen upgrades. The back assembly does peg together better. I'm holding them off the ground. You can see it's not coming loose. That doesn't say it's not going to come loose. It will happen. It's still not the strongest of clips. But if you do rotate this back assembly down here a little bit, it'll actually hold pretty tight. And one of the big problems that Rodimus has had was with the front chest, it didn't peg in very strong, so you couldn't rotate his arms without it coming undone. Well, that piece must have been remolded, because it still comes off, without too much of a struggle, but it holds in. And I haven't done with the Hot Rod. I put some nail polish on here to thicken up the connection. I haven't done that with this guy. This is exactly how it is out of the box, and it pegs in and his chest stays connected, so that's pretty cool. Let's go to the arms. Now, the US version, I'm going to put this down. The US version got these weird assemblies here that nobody really knows why they did it. And it kind of stinks, because a lot of the stability of Rodimus's arms revolves around those assemblies. As you can see, without them pushed in properly, his arm can't hold the pose, but then once it's in, he can hold it. And I don't know why they made that assembly. It pops out all the time. And yeah, I think pretty much anybody who has been looking at the two Rodimuses can't figure out why they've made that change. Let me stand him up here. I believe they replaced the springs in both their feet. That was popping out. Yeah, it's not popping out of his feet. But let's go back to the elbows. Now you can see this Rodimus has a much thicker molded piece of plastic. Like, the whole plastic joint is molded like these little arm pads. So that's why it's always kind of looked like he had them, but he never did. I don't know why they went with these much thinner black pieces. And as you can see, when you compare the two arms, it's just a more solid looking arm connection between the elbow here and the elbow on the Hasbro version. Very strange change that they made. I don't know why they would have remolded a new piece. I couldn't possibly see it saving you any money, especially since that's two pieces of plastic and this is just one. The the next thing is coming down to the legs. Of course, this piece pegs in. They did make this tab just a little bit bigger, so it pegs in a little bit nicer. And of course the big problem was always this piece came off, and like the Hasbro version, this one also got that friction plug holding it in. So he has had upgrades. He's definitely better than the Hasbro version in terms of those elbows. But yeah, they did a good job with him, and you know, most of the problems are not completely fixed, but they're way better. Alright, so let's transform Rodimus. And one thing to note, if you have him in Rodimus Prime mode, the first thing you need to do is going to be to put these leg assemblies back up. Otherwise, nothing is going to come together right. So, we'll come down here to the leg panels. Actually, before we do that, let's do the make his chest face the right way. So, untab this back assembly, push it down as far as you can. Lift the tab out of there, and then rotate this on around, because you're going to need to do that anyway, so you might as well do it now while it's easy. And then flip everything out, flip this assembly on around, and just put it out of the way. We'll open up those two. Alright, now we'll come down to the legs here, and what you're going to do is open these panels and swing these on up, and then you're going to adjust the foot till the stop hits right there, and then just kind of put his foot like that for now. And Hot Rod is not happy. It's okay. We'll take him out of here anyway. Alright, so then we come back, do it to the other side, same exact thing. Make it lock up and adjust it. Now you're going to take these assemblies, rotate them this side so the slot is out, and then grab in between here where it all pegged in, grab that in like the chrome area and just flip that on around so that this tab is going to line up with that slot. Do it for the other side. I tell you to grab these parts. You can move the chrome out of the way if you don't want to get your fingers on it. In fact, I would probably recommend not rubbing on it too much. But definitely don't grab by anything that is moving, otherwise you risk breaking them. So after you have it like this, and this is where I always have a little bit of problems, because a lot of getting him to sit is going to be with respect to how these legs are rotated. If they're like one click down, he'll still all come together, but things aren't going to sit right. So you kind of have to play with that a little. I wish I could tell you how to do it good, but unfortunately it's trial and error for me too. For the knees, I always rotate the upper knee here first because it's a more stiff ratchet, and then bring in the lower portion of the knee, and it all should tab together, and just kind of adjust his foot into position for now. We'll come back to that and do the same for the other side here, and just watch your back panels here. Even though they're fixed, I certainly don't want them to come off if I can avoid it. And tab it together, adjust the foot appropriately, and try to get it so it's sitting there. And it might need more adjustment, but we'll come back to it after. And now everything back here is pretty much together. You can go ahead and squeeze his legs together to make sure they're as close as you can, and then plug in these little panels, their little tab on the top here to the, what was the back armor, I guess, of Rodimus. And then you can close this on up. And this part you have to be careful of, because these little side tabs like to stress, so it's really more likely to happen when you are opening him again, and not so bad when you're closing him on up, but something to be wary of. And this tab I never plugged in properly. There we go. So yeah, I'll kind of show you how I take that apart when we take him to his Rodimus Prime alt mode. And make sure everything is twisted properly here. And everything should be closed up. And when we come down here, you flip out his waist, and these bigger tabs will now hold into their respective hole. As you can see, they're not coming out, which was a problem with the version 1. And if you look, there's like molded detail here where the foot is really supposed to fit in, and you really want to try your best to get it to fit in there. I think I've got him in, but I'm not entirely sure, and won't be sure until we actually get to that point where we're bringing the hands in. Next thing you can do, take these pipes, open them up, pull the wheels down, close the pipes, and turn them backwards like that. Same thing. Whoops. Now see, it's better, but it's not flawless. You're still going to have tabs and stuff popping out occasionally. It's just how it is. But with any luck, we'll have him rolling with this first transformation. We can hope. Alright, so now we're going to come to the hands here and the arms. So what we're going to do, just start kind of closing it up. Rotate this around. We'll put it like that and just get it out of the way because that's going to be in the right position. Then lift the top of the car and twist it around. Extend out these side pieces. And then flip the headlight piece out. And you got that. Now you can take these arms and you rotate this chrome piece on in, and then you rotate the lower elbow, or the lower arm portion, around, and then you just kind of telescope it on in. Then take his hands, put it like this, and put them over that front piece there. And we'll do the same thing for the other side here. Get it around, change it. And these telescoping joints here, I always feel like never quite go in as far as you want them to. Which, who knows, maybe that's the reason that sometimes Rodimus has a little bit of a problem. And you can, it does push in all the way in clicks to make it more of a seamless joint there. Well, as seamless as you can be on a Transformer, I suppose. So we're pretty much ready. We're going to go to the sides, open up these little panels here, all of them, just because it's easier that way. And you're going to take these, have them ready like that, flip it on in, and you can see that it's just sized to fit his hands in there. And so you'll take it on in and rotate the shoulder joints upwards, well, downwards I should say, which is how I do the hot rod transformation, and it slides and plugs everything in there. And you should see that the hands here are just fitting underneath these panels. Now there are tabs here that line up with the tabs on the hands, but I've never got them to actually plug in, and then also had Rodimus have all 4 wheels on the ground. So I don't tend to worry about them. Now before we're done here, what you're going to do is unplug this chrome pipe assembly, twist it, and the little piece is going to feed into that back piece that you opened, and then you plug it into the back to make the seamless set of pipes. Close up that side door here, and do the same for this side, which this door closed. Put it in, close it, twist it, and plug in my pipe again, or my leg panel. And there you got Rodimus, and he actually rolls. So we did it right the first time. So that's always a plus, because Rodimus is super finicky when it comes to that. Okay, and the last thing I forgot to adjust Rodimus' spoiler. So, now we've got him in his car mode, all four wheels touching the ground. And he has the same improvements, or whatever, lack of improvements, as the original Masterpiece had, which is that, from this side you can see that the Hasbro version looks good. But once we flip it that way, you see the real bad gap. And he doesn't have that gap. That piece of plastic sits better. I don't know why that is like that on the Hasbro version, or what changed to cause the front end to do that. But yeah, nonetheless, you can see the two differences between them. And yeah, I actually found getting him to his alt mode was easier than the Hasbro version too, and I don't know why. If it has something to do with the arms, I don't know. But the Hasbro version I actually had to mess with for a bit longer. So let's put that aside. And the Hasbro version, I don't know if you can see it, but it is stressing on that tab. It stressed, I think, the first time I transformed it. And look how bad my paint is holding up. It's cracking. That chip's worse. There's more chips. This is a really thick paint application. This is still painted, but I think it's a lot more thin because there's more tolerance between the two. So I don't think that that one's gonna crack like that one did. I'm gonna have to touch it up. To get this guy to Rodimus Prime, because we might as well do that, you're gonna open up this top piece here and kind of flip it on around so it's flat like that. Now this part is the hardest part because I don't want to stress those tabs. So you're gonna undo the back, and then what I do is just kind of wiggle this little back piece here to try to get it to come out just very gently. I don't want to put too much pressure on it, and just straight out. So once that's out like that, you're going to take everything, you're going to flip him around like this, and I believe these pieces, you have to bear with me, it's been a while since I've done this transformation to Rodimus Prime, go like that, and then you slide this assembly as far forward as you can. Maybe you don't put that down on the little track that's in here, like that. And then you can just leave it like this. You don't put that in, I was wrong. And then you're going to return the pipes the way they were. Flip them around, plug it back in, and then just take these and rotate them up, and then they're going to get layered on top of the other pipes. Now, we come to the trailer. Now, the trailer still had the problem, either just held in by friction plugs again, where the paint here was too thick and it was going to scratch the spoiler. You definitely need to pop these off and use some sandpaper on them. Otherwise, you're going to get orange all over Rodimus's spoiler. And since it's a painted yellow, you're never going to get the orange off without taking the yellow off. So we take that, we take the Rodimus Prime cab. A lot of people, I guess, don't like the fact that you almost have Rodimus Prime sitting here like this, but hey, you know what? They made it work. I'm okay with that. Now you take the car and you have to lift it up here so the spoiler is gonna slide on in, and then your window and stuff should have slid into the recess up here. And whoops, I lost my chrome pipe here. And then once that's like that, and you got the back of Hot Rod sticking out, then you can come around to the front, lift these little pieces, bring this on around, don't lift those little pieces. I forgot. They kind of sit down a little. And then just clip this on off. And then what I always have to do, besides fix this, is push these little side tabs in to close up the gap on each side. And those are replacing the tabs that were the back roof of Rodimus, or Hot Rod. You're making use of those posts again. And I know what's going on with this one leg. There we go. It wasn't holding in this time. It still doesn't want to hold in very well. So now we've got him in Rodimus Prime mode. And actually, over his original release, these are a lot more flush too, which I don't know what's changed here to make them more flush, but they are, and I like that. It looks a lot nicer. Yeah, so pretty nice. How he sits, I don't get this wheel to roll. It's freestanding. If I push it down, it'll roll, but hey, whatever, he just sits on my shelf. So here he is next to the, well, we'll turn it like this so you can't see the gap on this Rodimus too much. So here he is next to his Hasbro version, the Toys R Us one. And since we have them like this, we might as well push these guys aside, and let's put in Generation 1 Rodimus and Generation 1 Hot Rod. So there you go, guys. That is version 2 Rodimus Prime. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I promise you won't see Rodimus Prime being reviewed again, because if they make a version 3, I have no intentions of getting it. And yeah, so I guess unless Hasbro Takara does what they did with Optimus Prime and just decides to remake Rodimus, this is it for Masterpiece Rodimus. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys next week.